For 7 long years, Bingo had known only one world, Ajoke. Where Ajoke went, Bingo followed. Where Ajoke sat, Bingo lay beside her. When Ajoke laughed, Bingo wagged her tail as if the joy belonged to both of them. And when Ajoke cried in silence, Bingo pressed his warm body against her legs, guarding her pain like a secret meant only for him. Ajoke was 32 years old, an Indian woman with gentle eyes that carried too much sadness for her age. Her smile was soft, but behind it lived years of rejection, whispered insults, and broken promises.
Why is this happening to me? I feel so lost and broken. Please give me the strength.
3 different men had married her, and 3 times she had been sent away. Not for lack of love, not for wrongdoing, but for something she could not control. Barrenness. That single word followed her like a shadow. It crept into conversations, poisoned family gatherings, and finally pushed her out of marriages she had once entered with hope. Each goodbye took a piece of her heart, until all that remained was quiet endurance. Through it all, Bingo never left. When Ajoke packed her bags the first time, Bingo sat beside the door. When she returned home in tears after the second rejection, Bingo licked her hands until she laughed weakly. By the third time, when Ajoke no longer cried loudly but stared blankly at walls, Bingo understood that his job was not to fix things, but to stay. Stress and loneliness slowly wrapped around Ajoke like a tightening rope. City life became unbearable. The noise, the people, the pitying looks, and the questions she could no longer answer drained her strength. Nights became sleepless, days became heavy, and her heart felt crowded even when she was alone. One morning, after a long night of silent tears, Ajoke made a decision. "I want peace," she whispered, her fingers buried in Bingo's fur. "Just you and me." Bingo wagged his tail gently, as if he understood. They left the city quietly, carrying only what they needed. Ajoke sold what little she had left and walked away from a life that had given her more wounds than warmth. Together with Bingo, she journeyed far, past busy roads, past noisy villages, until the world grew quiet. Very quiet. They arrived near a lonely thicket bush, a place where the wind spoke louder than people and the trees seemed to mind their own business. No neighbors, no gossip, no judgment, just open land, thick bushes, and the sound of birds calling from far away. As they walked deeper, Bingo suddenly stopped and barked once, alert but curious. There, hidden behind tall grass and crawling vines, stood an old abandoned house. Its roof sagged tiredly. Cobwebs covered the doorways like forgotten curtains. Grass had grown shamelessly inside the rooms, claiming the floors as its own. Lizards darted across cracked walls, and the air smelled of dust and time. Ajoke stood still, studying it. Most people would have turned back. But Ajoke smiled for the first time in days. "This will do," she said softly. Bingo barked again, circling the house as if inspecting their new home. They wasted no time. Before cleaning, they needed water. Ajoke tied a container and walked with Bingo to a nearby river. The path was narrow, surrounded by tall bushes that whispered as they passed. Bingo stayed close, sometimes running ahead, sometimes waiting to make sure Ajoke was safe. At the river, Ajoke fetched water while Bingo watched the flowing stream with curiosity, occasionally barking at his reflection. For a moment, Ajoke laughed, a real laugh, light and free. Back at the house, the hard work began. Ajoke slashed the wild grasses with determination, sweat dripping down her face but her spirit slowly lifting. Bingo chased away birds, barked at crawling insects, and proudly guarded every corner as if he owned the place. They swept out the cobwebs,
Ajoke packed one bag, folded her noise in a drawer, keys on the table, didn't look back at the door.
Still old, still broken in places, but clean and welcoming. It was no longer abandoned. Outside, Ajoke carefully arranged stones and built a small traditional kitchen. She placed the stones lovingly, humming an old tune her mother used to sing. Bingo lay nearby, watching her every move, his tail thumping against the ground. As evening approached, the sky turned golden. The air cooled, and the loneliness of the place felt less frightening, more peaceful. Ajoke cooked a simple meal, shared a little with Bingo, and sat quietly outside, watching the sun disappear behind the trees. For the first time in a long while, her heart felt lighter. When night fell, Ajoke retired inside the house, spreading her mat near the wall. She paused at the door and looked at Bingo. "Guard us, my friend," she said gently. Bingo lay outside, right at the entrance, alert and faithful. His ears twitched at every sound, his eyes scanning the darkness. No fear lived in his heart, only loyalty. As Ajoke drifted into sleep, the lonely bush held its breath. Neither of them knew that this quiet place, this abandoned house, and this peaceful night were only the beginning of a story that would test love, loyalty, and destiny itself. The following morning arrived gently. The sun rose slowly above the tall trees, spilling soft golden light through the broken windows of the old house. Birds chirped happily, hopping from branch to branch, as if welcoming a new beginning. The bush, which had felt lonely the night before, now felt alive. Inside the house, Ajoke stirred. She stretched lazily and smiled when she remembered where she was. No noise, no pressure, just peace. Before she could even sit up properly, Bingo pushed the door open with her nose and trotted inside. Her tail swayed wildly. Thump, thump, thump. Bingo rubbed her body against Ajoke's legs, circling her like a small storm of happiness. "Aha, Bingo!" Ajoke laughed, pretending to push her away. "So this is how you wake people up now." Bingo barked softly and jumped on the mat, licking Ajoke's hands and face as if she had been gone for years instead of one night. Ajoke laughed until her eyes watered. "Good morning, my girl," she said, scratching Bingo behind the ears. After freshening up, Ajoke walked outside to wash her face at a small basin she had placed near the house. The cold water splashed against her skin, waking her fully. Bingo followed closely, watching every move as if Ajoke might suddenly disappear. Later that morning, Ajoke tied a basket to her back. "Let's go look for food," she said cheerfully. Bingo barked once, ready for adventure. They walked deeper into the bush, following narrow paths where sunlight filtered through leaves. Ajoke plucked wild fruits along the way, inspecting each one carefully. Birds fluttered away as they passed, and insects buzzed lazily in the warm air. After a while, Bingo's energy began to drop. She slowed down, then suddenly jumped on Ajoke's back playfully. "Hey!" Ajoke exclaimed, almost losing her balance. "Bingo! You're heavy, oh!" Bingo wagged her tail proudly, clearly pleased with herself. Ajoke turned around laughing, dropped her basket, and began to sing loudly in the middle of the bush. Multiple musical notes, "Bingo, Bingo my bestie. You Bingo came to me as a pet. But now you are like more than a sister." Multiple musical notes. She danced clumsily as she sang, waving her hands and spinning around. Bingo's tail shook like it might fall off from happiness. She barked repeatedly, jumping around Ajoke as if she was dancing too. Anyone passing by would have thought Ajoke had lost her mind. But for the first time in years, she didn't care. They continued walking until they reached a large farm bursting with fruits. Trees were heavy with ripe mangoes, guavas, and oranges. Ajoke's eyes widened. "Bingo! Look!" she whispered excitedly. "Food everywhere." They plucked fruits together, Ajoke carefully filling her basket while Bingo guarded it seriously, growling at imaginary thieves. Ajoke laughed every time Bingo chased a falling leaf like it was an enemy. With a full basket and tired legs, they began their journey back. On their way, they passed by the river again. The water sparkled under the afternoon sun. Ajoke dropped her basket and sighed happily. "I need this," she said. She stepped into the water slowly, then swam freely, splashing and laughing like a child. For a moment, all her pain disappeared. Bingo sat at the riverbank, staring deeply into the water. She tilted her head, then barked at her reflection. Ajoke burst into laughter. "That's you, Bingo. Don't fight yourself." Bingo barked again, stepping back as if surprised by the dog in the water. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, they headed home. Ajoke prepared their supper using the fruits and what little supplies she had left. They sat together outside, sharing the meal under the open sky. Ajoke ate slowly, her heart full. Bingo lay beside her, licking her paws and wagging her tail occasionally. As darkness crept in, Ajoke looked at Bingo and whispered, "Maybe this place will heal us." Bingo rested her head on Ajoke's lap. And for the first time in a long time, Ajoke felt truly seen, not as a barren woman, not as a failure, but simply as herself. That night, the bush was unusually quiet. Ajoke lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. The peace of the place could not fully silence her heart. Slowly, tears rolled down her cheeks. She tried to be quiet, but pain has a sound of its own. Outside the door, Bingo's ears twitched. She heard it. Ajoke turned to the wall and whispered through her tears, "Even though the universe didn't bless me with children, at least they gave me you, Bingo." Bingo's heart sunk. She pushed the door open gently and walked inside. Ajoke didn't notice at first. Bingo climbed onto the mat, laid her head on Ajoke's chest, and let out a soft whimper. Ajoke hugged her tightly. "You're all I have." Bingo closed her eyes. In that small dog's heart, a promise was made. "I will do everything to make her happy." Days passed. The sun rose and set again. Ajoke slowly began to heal. She laughed more. She sang while cooking. She talked to Bingo like a human friend, telling her stories, secrets, even jokes. Sometimes Bingo would bark back as if answering. "Don't argue with me," Ajoke would say, pointing at her. Bingo would tilt her head innocently, then bark again. Ajoke would laugh. "You see, this dog thinks she knows better than me." But one morning, Bingo sensed something deeper. Ajoke woke up quite again. Her smile was there, but thin. The kind that hides pain. Bingo barked sharply, pacing around. Enough. That afternoon, Bingo ran off suddenly, barking angrily as if she had remembered something important. Ajoke shouted after her, but Bingo didn't stop. "She will come back," Ajoke murmured, though worry crept into her heart. Bingo ran far, farther than she had ever gone. Along a lonely road, dusty and silent, she suddenly stopped. She heard it. Crying. Tiny. Weak. Human. Bingo's ears stood straight. She followed the sound until she reached a bush by the roadside. There, hidden under leaves, was a rectangular brown woven basket. Inside it were two babies, a boy and a girl. Twins. Their faces were red from crying, their tiny hands moving in the air. Bingo froze in shock. Then she barked loudly, calling for help. No one came. She circled the basket, growling at flies, barking at passing birds, guarding the babies fiercely. Hours passed. The sun moved lower in the sky. No one returned. Bingo looked at the babies, then toward the direction of home. Ajoke. Decision made. With great effort, Bingo carefully grabbed the handle of the basket with her mouth. It was heavy. She stopped many times, panting, resting, then continuing. People might say, "A dog can't do that." But love makes strength when none exists. As evening approached, Bingo finally reached the house. Ajoke was outside, pacing nervously. "Bingo," she cried when she saw her. "Where have you been?" Then she noticed the basket. "Bingo, what is that?" Bingo dropped the basket gently and barked excitedly, jumping up and down, her tail wagging wildly like a celebration drum. Ajoke rushed forward. When she opened the basket and saw the babies, she gasped. "Oh my God!" She lifted them into her arms, one after the other, trembling. There, babies. Twins. Bingo barked happily and jumped around her, proud like she had just won a medal. As Ajoke adjusted the blanket around them, a folded paper slipped out. She picked it up with shaking hands and read, "Please, whoever finds these babies, take good care of them. My husband sent me away. My family and friends rejected me. I have nowhere left to go with two babies. Please raise them as your own. I cannot return. Thank you." Tears streamed down Ajoke's face. She hugged the babies closer, her whole body shaking, not from sadness alone, but from something else. Hope. Bingo stood on her hind legs and wrapped her paws around Ajoke's waist, almost like a hug. Ajoke laughed through tears. "You did this," she whispered. "You brought them to me." That night, the abandoned house felt different. It was no longer lonely. It was a home. That night, sleep refused to visit the old house. Ajoke sat on her mat, the twins resting softly in her arms. Their breathing was gentle, their tiny fingers curling and uncurling like they were holding on to dreams. Bingo lay close, eyes wide open, watching every movement with curiosity and excitement. Ajoke laughed quietly. "Bingo, why are you staring like that? They won't disappear." Bingo wagged her tail and moved closer, sniffing the babies carefully, then stepping back as if saying, "I'm just checking." Ajoke smiled warmly. "You're their guardian angel." She looked down at the twins and whispered, "You need names." After a moment of thought, she said softly, "The boy will be Zingo, and the girl will be Mingo." Bingo barked happily, jumping once like she approved the names. Ajoke turned to her and said with a playful smile, "Now I have 3 children, Bingo, Zingo, and Mingo." At that, Bingo stood up on her hind legs and hugged Ajoke tightly. Ajoke laughed, holding her close. That night, the moon shone brighter than ever, as if celebrating a family that was never planned but perfectly formed. As the days turned into months, life bloomed around the old house. Bingo became the twins' first playmate. While Ajoke cooked or fetched water, Bingo stayed close to Zingo and Mingo, lying beside them, nudging them gently when they cried, barking loudly if they crawled too close to danger. When the twins learned to crawl, Bingo crawled with them. When they learned to walk, Bingo walked beside them. Sometimes, Zingo would pull Bingo's tail, and Bingo would pretend to be angry, barking softly, then licking his fingers until he giggled. Mingo loved hugging Bingo's neck and resting her head on her furry chest. "Careful," Ajoke would laugh. "That dog is not your pillow." But Bingo never complained. Years passed like pages turning in a book. The abandoned house transformed into a lively home. Laughter filled the air. Footprints covered the dusty paths. The bush no longer felt lonely, it felt alive. Then time did what it always does. Zingo and Mingo grew tall, strong, 18 years old. They worked the farm together, carrying baskets of fruits, joking and arguing like siblings do. Ajoke watched them proudly, her heart full. But Bingo felt different now. She walked slower. Her eyes followed them quietly. Ajoke held Zingo and Mingo's hands as they walked, laughing and sharing stories. Bingo trailed behind, unnoticed. Sometimes she stopped, sat outside the house, and watched them eat, laugh, and talk late into the night. No one called her name. No one saved her a seat. Once, Bingo walked closer to the fire where they were eating, hoping for a gentle touch or a familiar call. None came. She turned away silently. That night, as Ajoke and her children laughed inside, Bingo lay outside alone, staring at the stars. The same stars that once watched her carry a basket of hope home. Her tail didn't wag, but her heart still loved. Time changed everything. Bingo now walked alone. She went to the farm alone, sniffing the soil where she once walked beside Ajoke and the twins. She went to the river alone, staring at her reflection, wondering when she became invisible. Sometimes Ajoke would chase her away angrily, shouting, "Go away, Bingo. You're disturbing." Those words hurt more than hunger. Many evenings, Bingo returned late, weak and tired, but no one noticed. Zingo and Mingo were grown now, busy, loud, full of life. Ajoke's hands were always holding theirs, never reaching for Bingo's fur again. Still, Bingo stayed, because love does not leave easily. One fine evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky orange, Bingo rested under a big tree beside the house. Her eyes were half closed when suddenly, she smelled danger. A long, thick snake slithered silently toward the house. Big, dangerous. Bingo jumped up immediately and barked loudly. Woof! 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 No one came out. Zingo and Mingo were inside laughing. Ajoke was busy cooking. They heard the bark, but ignored it. "That dog is always making noise," Zingo said carelessly. Bingo realized something painful. No one will help. Without fear, Bingo charged. The snake hissed, raising its head, but Bingo was faster. She dodged, bit hard, rolled on the ground, barked fiercely, and fought with everything she had left. Dust flew everywhere. Leaves scattered. Finally, the snake stopped moving. Dead. Bingo panted heavily, blood on her fur, but she stood tall. With great effort, she grabbed the snake in her mouth and dragged it toward the house. Ajoke stepped outside. Her eyes widened. "Jesus!" she shouted. "Bingo!" Bingo dropped the snake at her feet. For a moment, everyone was silent. Then Ajoke rushed forward, holding her chest. This snake was entering the house. Bingo wagged her tail weakly. Ajoke knelt down and touched Bingo's head. "You saved us. You saved my children." Her voice broke. "Oh my goodness, good girl, Bingo. Very good girl." For the first time in years, Bingo felt warmth again. Ajoke kept praising her, calling the neighbors who passed by to see. She even turned to Zingo and said, "You see this dog? You should be brave and loyal like Bingo." Bingo's tail wagged non-stop. She felt seen. But not everyone was happy. Zingo's heart hardened. "Why is she praising a dog so much?" he muttered to himself. "It's just an animal." Each praise felt like an insult to him. Days passed, and the bitterness grew. One afternoon, Bingo's food was served outside as usual. Zingo watched silently from a distance. When no one was looking, he poured a poisonous substance into Bingo's food. He smiled. "This will end today." Bingo approached the food slowly. She sniffed it. Something was wrong. The smell burned her nose. Suddenly, Bingo barked loudly and kicked the ball away. The food scattered on the ground. Zingo froze. How did it notice? He whispered in shock. Ajoke rushed outside angrily. "What is wrong with you, Bingo?" she shouted. "Why would you waste food like this?" Bingo barked again, whining, trying to explain. But Ajoke was already angry. "I don't want to hear anything," she snapped. "No food for you for 1 week." Bingo's ears dropped. Her heart broke again. That night, Bingo walked slowly to the river and lay beside it, staring at the flowing water. Hunger twisted her stomach, but pain twisted her heart even more. She returned late, sleeping outside, alone. And somewhere in the darkness, destiny waited. Mingo had been watching quietly. For days now, she noticed how Bingo moved differently, slower, heavier, as if carrying something invisible on her back. While everyone else laughed and talked, Bingo stayed at the edges, watching, waiting, hoping. That afternoon, Mingo found Bingo lying under a tree near the house, her eyes dull, her body thin. "Bingo!" Mingo called softly. Bingo lifted her head and wagged her tail weakly. "Come with me," Mingo said, picking up a small basket. "Let's go to the farm together." Bingo stood up slowly, surprised, then followed her. As they walked along the narrow path, the wind brushed past them gently. Mingo broke the silence. "Bingo, why are you always sad these days?" Bingo stopped walking. She turned to Mingo, rose slowly on her hind legs, and wrapped her paws around Mingo's waist. Her eyes were wet. Tears rolled down her furry face. Mingo froze. "Oh, Bingo," she whispered, hugging her tightly. Moved by love, Mingo bent down. "Climb. I'll carry you." Bingo hesitated, then gently rested on Mingo's back. Mingo laughed softly. "You're lighter than you look." They continued to the farm like that, girl and dog, heart to heart. At the farm, Mingo set Bingo down under a mango tree and sat beside her. "I know something," Mingo said quietly. "Zingo doesn't like you." Bingo's ears dropped. "I saw him," Mingo continued, her voice trembling, "the day he poisoned your food. I saw everything." Bingo looked at her, stunned. Mingo touched Bingo's head. "I didn't know what to do then. I was scared. I'm sorry." Bingo wagged her tail gently, then licked Mingo's hand, as if saying it's okay. "You're here now." Mingo smiled through tears. "You're my friend, Bingo. You always have been." They stayed there for a while, sharing mangoes, Mingo eating, Bingo just enjoying the company. For the first time in a long while, Bingo felt peace. As evening came, they walked back home together. But the peace didn't last. As soon as they reached the house, Ajoke stormed out angrily. "Mingo!" she shouted. "Where have you been?" Mingo tried to explain. "Mama, I was with Bingo. With the dog." Ajoke interrupted sharply. "You stayed out this late because of a dog." Bingo stepped back slowly. Ajoke continued angrily. "From today, stop wasting time with that dog. You're grown now." Mingo stood frozen, her heart sinking. Bingo turned away quietly and lay down near the door, unseen once again. That night, Mingo couldn't sleep. She stared into the darkness, realizing something painful but clear. Bingo had given them everything. And now, only she remembered. That night, darkness carried evil intentions. While everyone slept, Zingo quietly rose from his mat. His eyes were cold, his heart already far from mercy. He picked up a hoe and walked far behind the house to a place where Bingo usually passed on her way to the river. Under the pale moonlight, he dug and dug and dug. The hole was deep, deep enough to swallow a body, deep enough to hide a truth. When he was done, he covered it carefully with dry leaves and weak branches, making it look like ordinary ground. He wiped sweat from his face and whispered to himself, "Tomorrow, it will end." Then he went back to sleep, calm. Morning came. The sun rose, birds sang, and Bingo stepped out quietly as usual. She no longer wanted trouble. The river had become her hiding place, peaceful, silent, safe from harsh words and cold looks. As she was about to leave, a voice stopped her. "Bingo!" She turned. Mingo stood there, holding a small bag. "Come with me," Mingo said with a smile. "I want to visit somewhere far, or somewhere new." Bingo hesitated, then wagged her tail gently. Since the day they became close, Bingo trusted Mingo completely. They walked far, past the river, past the old paths, until they reached the very place where Bingo had first heard the cries of the twins years ago. The bush felt warm, calm, alive. Mingo closed her eyes and breathed deeply. "I feel something good here," she said softly. "Like this place connects me to you." Bingo sat beside her, watching closely. "That's why I take care of you," Mingo continued. "I don't know how to explain it, but you feel like family." Bingo stood up, licked Mingo's face gently, and wagged her tail with joy. For a moment, the world felt kind again. Later that evening, as they began walking back home, Bingo suddenly ran ahead, tail wagging, excited like she always was when nearing the house. "Bingo!" Mingo called sharply. Bingo stopped and turned back. Mingo walked closer, her face serious now. "There's something I must tell you," she said quietly. She looked around, then whispered, "Last night, I followed Zingo." Bingo's ears stood up. "I saw him digging a deep hole," Mingo continued. "A trap. For you. That's why I stopped you from going near the river today." Bingo froze. The truth hit her like a storm. Then slowly, she walked to Mingo, rose on her hind legs, and hugged her tightly. Her body trembled, not from fear alone, but from gratitude. Mingo hugged her back. "I won't let him hurt you," she said firmly. After a long silence, Mingo spoke again. "Bingo, you won't go home." Bingo tilted her head in confusion. "You'll stay in the bush for 1 week," Mingo explained. "We'll pretend you're dead. Let Zingo think his plan worked." Bingo stared at her. "To teach him," Mingo said, "that evil intentions don't always win." Bingo slowly wagged her tail. She understood. That night, Bingo didn't return home. Ajoke called her name once, then went inside. Zingo smiled quietly. "Finally," he whispered. But somewhere in the bush, under the stars, Bingo lay awake, alive, brave, and waiting. Waiting for truth. Waiting for justice. Waiting for the moment love would speak louder than hate. That evening, Ajoke could not rest. She sat on her mat, staring into space, her heart heavy and uneasy. The house felt empty in a way it hadn't felt for years. No soft paws outside. No familiar bark. No warm eyes watching her every move. Something was wrong. "Bingo," she whispered. Sleep refused to come. Ajoke tossed and turned until finally she sat up, her chest tight. My life feels paused, she thought. Like something important is missing. Quietly, she stood up, picked up her lantern, and stepped outside. The flame flickered as the night breeze brushed against it. She walked slowly, calling softly, "Bingo! Bingo!" No answer. As she walked deeper into the darkness, a thought suddenly struck her mind like lightning. The river. That's where you always go, she said to herself. Her steps quickened. She didn't know she was walking straight toward danger. Near the riverside, the ground looked ordinary. Dry leaves scattered, branches lying carelessly. Ajoke didn't notice anything strange until the ground suddenly gave way beneath her feet. Ah! She screamed. She fell hard into the pit. Pain shot through her body. The lantern flew out of her hand and went dark. She cried out again and again, her voice echoing weakly in the deep hole. "Help! Somebody help me!" But the bush answered with silence. Hours passed. Cold crept in. Pain grew worse. One of her hands throbbed badly. It felt wrong, broken. Still, Ajoke stayed conscious, whispering prayers, fighting sleep. Bingo, she thought. I should have listened to my heart. Morning came. Birds chirped as if nothing had happened. Zingo and Mingo woke up and walked to Ajoke's room. She's not here, Mingo said, frowning. Zingo shrugged. Maybe she went out early. Without concern, he walked straight to the kitchen, served himself breakfast, and sat down calmly. Mingo remained outside in the compound, her heart racing. Something felt terribly wrong. Suddenly, it hit her. Bingo, the river, the pit. Her eyes widened. Oh no, she whispered. Mama. She ran. Mingo sprinted through the bush, her feet barely touching the ground. Her heart pounded as she approached the riverside. Then she heard it. A faint voice. Mingo, help. Mama. Mingo screamed. She rushed forward and looked down into the pit. There was Ajoke. Bruised. Weak. Covered in dirt. Alive. Mama. Hold on. I'm here. Mingo cried. Ajoke smiled weakly. I knew you would come. Mingo ran back home as fast as her legs could carry her. She grabbed the longest ladder she could find. It was heavy, too heavy for her. But fear gave her strength. Zingo watched her struggle. Where are you going with that? He asked casually. Mama fell into the pit you dug. Mingo shouted angrily. Zingo froze. For the first time, fear touched his face. Mingo didn't wait. She dragged the ladder all the way back to the pit, lowered it carefully inside, and guided her mother step by step. Ajoke cried out in pain as she climbed. One arm hung uselessly at her side. With one final effort, she came out. Mingo held her tightly. You're safe now, Mingo sobbed. Ajoke looked at her daughter with tear-filled eyes. And Bingo, she whispered. Mingo looked toward the bush. She saved us, even when she wasn't here. Somewhere far away, hidden and watching, Bingo lifted her head. She had felt it. Love was calling her back. Back at the house, the tension was thick. Zingo sat nervously at the breakfast table, glancing at his mother. Ever since the pit incident, his heart had not stopped pounding. Fear and guilt twisted in his chest like a storm he could not calm. What if Ajoke knew the truth? What if she found out that he had tried, twice, to harm Bingo, the dog who had once saved their lives? He swallowed hard, wiped sweat from his brow, and quickly formed a plan. I need a story ready, just in case, he thought. If she asks, I say I dug the pit to trap thieves. That's believable. Everyone will think I was clever, not cruel. When Ajoke finally returned home from her recovery, she leaned on Mingo for support. Her body was still bruised, and one hand hung in a cast. Every step reminded her of the danger she had faced. Her heart, however, ached far more for what had happened to Bingo. She could still picture the loyal dog, alone, suffering in the bush. Before Ajoke could even speak or ask a question about the pit, Zingo jumped into action. Mama, he blurted, his voice quick and confident. That pit? I dug it to catch thieves. I was being thoughtful. I didn't want anyone to steal from the farm. That's all, I promise. Mingo's lips twitched, ready to correct him, but Ajoke held up her hand. "That's thoughtful, Zingo," Ajoke said slowly, her voice softening. "But a pit like that could have taken my life. You could have killed me. You don't understand the danger." Zingo's confident expression faltered just slightly, but he nodded quickly anyway. Mingo let out a quiet sigh, deciding it wasn't the right time to tell the truth. She had bigger things to handle. The next days were a mix of worry and careful planning. Ajoke needed help to fully recover, so Mingo secretly called a local healer who came to the house. Using traditional herbs and soothing techniques, Ajoke's recovery accelerated. Her bruises faded faster than expected, and the cast on her hand made her more careful. Yet, no matter how healed her body became, her heart still bled for Bingo. "Where's my loyal friend?" Ajoke would think every night as she lay awake, staring at the moonlight filtering through the broken windows. "She saved us, and I abandoned her. How could I have let her suffer?" Mingo was sharp. She could see the patterns in her brother's behavior. She knew Zingo's curiosity and temper would eventually lead him to follow her whenever she tried to sneak out to see Bingo. So, she devised a plan. If Zingo ever followed her, she needed a way to hide Bingo and protect her from both suspicion and danger. Mingo built a small, secret graveside in the bush, not a real grave, of course, but a place where she could make it look like something had happened to Bingo, should Zingo be watching. She lined it carefully with flowers, leaves, and sticks to create a small, solemn spot, something convincing enough for Zingo to see but far away enough for Bingo to remain safe. This was clever, Mingo thought. If Zingo sees me here, he'll assume the worst. And Bingo will be safe. One bright afternoon, Mingo prepared her secret mission. She filled a black backpack with food, water, and flower petals, careful to move quietly. Her heart pounded, not from fear, but from urgency. She had to check on Bingo, make sure she was safe, and give her a little comfort. Sure enough, Zingo was lurking nearby, pretending to be busy but secretly following her. Mingo smiled to herself, exactly as planned. She walked briskly, keeping her eyes on the path ahead. Bingo had been resting a short distance from the river, the grass bending under her weight. Her fur had grown thicker, and her belly was round now, heavily pregnant. She looked peaceful but still alert, ready to protect herself and the babies inside her. Mingo whispered softly, "Bingo, I brought you something. Food, water, and flowers." Bingo's eyes sparkled, and she slowly rose on her legs. She licked Mingo's face gently, tail wagging uncontrollably. Mingo smiled, letting her friend eat first. After eating, Mingo gathered some petals from the backpack. She wept quietly, placing them on the makeshift graveside. Her tears fell onto the petals as if each one carried a silent apology for the betrayal, for leaving Bingo alone, and for the harshness of the world. Zingo, hiding behind a bush a short distance away, could barely contain his excitement. Finally, a story to tell Mama, he thought. He ran back home and blurted out immediately as soon as he saw Ajoke. "Mama, I saw Mingo." She was at a small graveside, weeping over Bingo. Ajoke's heart sunk. She felt a cold wave of guilt, horror, and helplessness all at once. She grabbed Zingo's arm tightly. "Take me there. I need to see it." They ran to the graveside, Ajoke leaning heavily on Zingo as she hobbled along. But when they arrived, there was no one there, only flower petals lying delicately on the ground. Her eyes filled with tears. She sunk to her knees and whispered to herself, her voice shaking, "Bingo, please forgive me. I failed you. I left you when you were alone. And I can't bear it." She picked up the petals, holding them close to her heart. Meanwhile, just a short distance away, hidden in the thick bush, Bingo and Mingo were quietly sitting together. Mingo had built a small, cozy house for Bingo using sticks, leaves, and old blankets she found in the bush. It wasn't much, but it gave Bingo shelter and comfort. Bingo sniffed the little house happily, tail wagging uncontrollably. "You like it?" Mingo asked. Bingo jumped and licked her face, curling up inside the house with a sigh of contentment. Her big belly rested on the soft ground, and she slowly closed her eyes, feeling safe for the first time in a long time. Mingo smiled and whispered, "You'll be okay, Bingo. Soon, everything will change. We'll wait for the right time, and you'll have your family back, safe and loved. Bingo nuzzled her shoulder, her eyes glimmering with trust and love. Far back at the real house, Ajoke returned with Zingo. She couldn't stop thinking about Bingo. Her heart ached for her loyal dog, the friend who had never abandoned her, even when everyone else did. That night, she sat alone in the living room, tears silently streaming down her face, holding the petals close. She whispered prayers, promising herself that she would find Bingo, no matter what. In the bush, Mingo and Bingo lay under the stars, the cool wind brushing their faces. Bingo's tail wagged gently. She was tired but happy. Life was harsh, but for the first time in months, she felt love, care, and safety. The little house Mingo built for her gave her hope. And even as she rested, she could sense the new life growing inside her. A promise of tomorrow, a second chance at joy. And somewhere in the darkness, the plan was forming. A plan to reunite Ajoke with her loyal friend. A plan to teach Zingo the meaning of respect, courage, and love. But for now, under the soft glow of the moon, all that mattered was the quiet comfort of friendship, the gentle presence of Mingo, and the warmth of a loyal heart that had never given up. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the quiet compound. Ajoke sat under the old mango tree, her hands trembling, her eyes red and swollen from crying. Her heart was heavy with grief, and her mind kept replaying memories of Bingo, loyal, brave, and always there when they needed her most. Zingo sat beside her, a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. He had told himself he was happy that Bingo was gone. Finally, the dog that had always reminded him of his own guilt was out of the way. But as he watched his mother quietly sob, a small pang of doubt began to creep in. "Mama, it's just a dog," Zingo said suddenly, trying to sound casual. I can bring you another dog. Something new. Someone to keep you company." Ajoke didn't respond. She kept staring at the ground, tears falling silently. Zingo's words didn't touch her. He shifted uncomfortably. Finally, Ajoke stood and walked slowly into the house. She went straight to a small, safe cupboard where she had hidden something precious, a letter. She took it carefully in her hands, almost as if it was sacred, then stepped outside again. She sat under the tree once more, placing the letter in her lap. Zingo, curious but still anxious, watched her from a few steps away. Ajoke opened the letter slowly. Her fingers trembled. She began to speak, her voice soft, heavy with emotion. "Zingo, this isn't just a dog. Bingo isn't just a pet. She was, a lifesaver, a blessing, a guardian." Zingo frowned, confusion knitting his brows. Ajoke's voice grew stronger, steadier. "You don't understand. Bingo didn't just protect me. She saved you. She saved Mingo. She saved me. All of us." Zingo's eyes widened. Ajoke took a deep breath and continued, her tears falling freely. "Do you remember when your mother abandoned you and Mingo in that bush? You could have died, you could have been lost. But Bingo, she carried both of you away, through danger, through the wilderness, to safety. She loved you since you were children. She never left your side, even when I failed to protect her." Zingo's mouth went dry. He opened it to speak, but Ajoke didn't stop. Her words were like arrows piercing his conscience. "She nursed you both. She stayed with you through hunger, through storms, through cold nights. She watched over you when you were too young to even understand the danger around you. And you tried to betray her. Do you even realize what you did?" Zingo froze. His legs felt like lead. His mind spun. He couldn't breathe. Before Ajoke could finish, Zingo suddenly stood up. His chair clattered to the ground. No, it can't be true," he shouted. His voice trembled. "All this time, He ran faster than he ever had, straight toward the graveside in the bush. Ajoke's voice called after him, but he didn't stop. He reached the graveside and collapsed to his knees. His hands clawed at the ground. His face was wet with tears. I'm so sorry," Zingo cried bitterly. "Bingo, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I was wrong. I didn't understand. The leaves rustled softly around him, the wind carrying his cries into the darkness. He stayed there, sobbing, broken, guilt crushing him. Back at home, Ajoke sat under the mango tree, exhausted and still heavy with grief. But there was a spark in her eyes, a quiet hope that maybe, one day, Zingo would understand and Bingo would be welcomed back. She glanced toward the bush where Zingo had gone. Her heart ached, but she knew Mingo was still nearby, taking care of Bingo. She worried about her daughter, but she also knew that Mingo would protect the dog just as she always had. Days passed. Each day, Zingo returned to the graveside. Sometimes he sat for hours, praying, crying, begging for forgiveness. Ajoke stayed home, stressed about Mingo's whereabouts, worrying if her daughter was safe while taking care of the dog she loved so dearly. And somewhere in the bush, hidden from the eyes of Zingo and Ajoke, Bingo rested peacefully in the small house Mingo had built. Her belly was round with life, and she could sense the love surrounding her, even from afar. She wagged her tail softly whenever Mingo approached, sniffing her gently and licking her hand in silent gratitude. Zingo, oblivious to the fact that Bingo was alive, continued his morning at the graveside. Each day, the weight of his guilt grew heavier, slowly teaching him a lesson in humility, love, and respect. And Ajoke, sitting under the mango tree, quietly prayed, "Please, keep my loyal friend safe. One day, bring her back to us." The bush remained quiet, the stars twinkled above, and the wind carried the whispers of a life yet to be reunited. The bush was quiet that morning, bathed in soft golden sunlight. Bingo stirred in the small house Mingo had built for her. Her belly was heavy now, her breathing slow and steady. She lifted her head and sniffed the air. Something in her heart told her that the time had come. Mingo stood beside her, smiling softly. "It's okay, Bingo. Today, we go home. You've been strong, and your babies are almost here." Bingo wagged her tail, nudging Mingo gently. She could sense the trust, the love, and the promise of safety. For the first time in a long while, she felt hope. Meanwhile, Zingo knelt by the graveside for the third day in a row. His clothes were dusty, his hands raw from gripping the dirt. Each day, his guilt grew heavier, each tear he shed deeper. "Bingo, I'm sorry," he whispered. I didn't understand. I was cruel. Please forgive me." He didn't notice movement in the bush behind him. Mingo approached silently, carrying a small basket with fresh food. "Zingo," she said softly. He jumped, spinning around. He stammered. "Bingo isn't dead," Mingo said calmly. "She's alive, and she's waiting. But you need to understand the consequences of what you did." Zingo's jaw dropped. His knees buckled. "Alive?" "Yes," Mingo nodded. "But you can't just run back home and act like nothing happened. You need to see her, apologize properly, and promise never to hurt her, or anyone, again." Zingo swallowed hard, fear and guilt mixing in his chest. At that moment, Ajoke arrived at the bush. She had followed Mingo quietly, her heart beating fast. She had been carrying the letter, the story of Bingo's bravery and loyalty, and now, finally, she would see her loyal friend again. When Bingo saw Ajoke approaching, her tail wagged frantically. She barked softly, jumping a little, but carefully. Her instincts told her this was a safe moment. "Mama!" Bingo seemed to cry. She ran toward Ajoke, her paws leaving small prints in the dirt. Ajoke knelt down, tears streaming down her face. "Bingo, my loyal, brave girl," Ajoke whispered. She wrapped her arms around Bingo's neck, hugging her tightly. Bingo licked her face, whining softly with joy. Mingo stepped back, smiling. "It's okay, Mama. She's back." Zingo watched silently, guilt burning in his chest. He could not move. The dog he had tried to betray, the dog he had believed was dead, was alive and thriving. She was even more majestic than before, her eyes full of life and forgiveness and wisdom. Slowly, he stepped forward. His voice trembled. I'm sorry, Bingo," he said, falling to his knees. I was cruel. I tried to hurt you, and I was wrong. Please, forgive me." Bingo tilted her head, studying him. Her tail wagged slowly, cautious, but she seemed to sense his sincerity. Then, with a soft bark, she nudged his hand gently. Zingo's tears flowed freely. I promise, never again. I protect you. I protect all of us. Ajoke smiled through her tears, holding both Bingo and Zingo close. Bingo, you're more than a dog. You're family. You've saved us, loved us, and taught us what loyalty means. Mingo, standing nearby, smiled proudly. And now, it's time for a new beginning. A few weeks later, in the same bush where Mingo had protected Bingo, a miracle happened. Bingo gave birth to 4 healthy puppies, 2 boys and 2 girls. The small house Mingo had built was now filled with the gentle sounds of little paws and soft barks. Ajoke knelt beside Bingo, holding one of the puppies close. Tears of joy ran freely down her cheeks. Bingo, you've given us so much. And now, new life. I can't thank you enough. Zingo, kneeling beside Ajoke, looked at Bingo with reverence and love. I'll never forget this. I promise, you'll always be safe. Always. Mingo laughed softly, letting the small puppies crawl over her lap. See, Mama, life goes on. Love survives. And this is all thanks to Bingo. Bingo barked softly, nuzzling her new puppies. Her eyes shone with pride, loyalty, and a love so deep that it could fill the world. From that day onward, the household changed. Zingo learned humility and love, caring for Bingo and her puppies. Ajoke's heart healed completely, now filled with gratitude and joy. Mingo stayed by Bingo's side, always protecting her, guiding her, and learning the meaning of true friendship. The bush, once lonely and dangerous, became a home full of laughter, warmth, and life. The river sparkled in the sunlight, reflecting the happiness of a family reunited and a loyal dog rewarded for her unwavering love. Bingo's story, once filled with fear, betrayal, and loneliness, now became a story of courage, forgiveness, and everlasting love. Even Zingo, who had once been cruel, now knelt beside her daily, helping care for the puppies, apologizing quietly, and learning the meaning of true loyalty from the dog who had once saved his life and would save his heart again. That night, as the stars glittered in the sky, Ajoke sat under the mango tree, smiling softly. Bingo lay beside her, puppies nestled against her warm belly. Mingo and Zingo were nearby, quietly watching the peaceful scene. Ajoke whispered softly, almost to herself, "Bingo, you are more than a dog. You are a blessing, a guardian, a sister, a mother, a lifesaver, and we will never forget you." Bingo lifted her head, tail wagging gently, eyes shining. She had finally returned to where she belonged. The family was whole again, and the bush, once lonely, now echoed with love, laughter, and the gentle pitter-patter of tiny paws. The sun rose gently over the bush that had been their home for so long. Birds chirped, the river sparkled, and the vine danced through the tall grasses. Mingo, carrying a small basket, walked toward the river, humming a soft tune. Her eyes caught something glinting in the water. She crouched down and gasped. "A goldfish," she whispered. Its scales shimmered in the morning sun like molten gold. Carefully, she scooped it up and placed it in a small water container she had brought along. When Mingo returned home, Ajoke's face lit up as if the sun itself had entered the house. "The universe, it's giving us a sign," she exclaimed. It's time to leave the bush and go back to the city. A new life awaits us." Zingo, who had been helping carry food and supplies, perked up at the thought. "City, wow, that means shops, streets, lights, maybe even a school for me." Bingo barked happily and wagged her tail, sniffing the goldfish curiously. The puppies in the basket yipped softly, tumbling over each other as if sensing something exciting was about to happen. Mingo carefully sold the goldfish at the local market. People marveled at its beauty and shimmer, offering her a large sum of money. Ajoke clutched the cash tightly, her heart pounding with joy. This is enough for us to start fresh in the city," she said, tears of happiness streaming down her cheeks. "We can finally leave the bush behind. Our struggle, our loneliness, everything. The family began preparing for the big move. They packed their belongings, small bundles of clothes, cooking utensils, and the essentials they would need in the city. The puppies were placed safely in their basket, Bingo beside them, watching carefully as Ajoke wrapped the last of their things. Zingo ran around, helping carry light items, but occasionally stumbling over the grass. "I can't wait to see the city lights. I've never seen so many people at once," he exclaimed. Mingo laughed softly. "Patience, Zingo. Soon, very soon, you'll see everything." The day of departure arrived. A minibus pulled up to their small clearing. Its bright colors stood out against the muted greens and browns of the bush. Ajoke, Mingo, and Zingo carefully loaded their belongings. Bingo, ever curious and brave, climbed up onto the seat beside the window. She stuck her head out, letting the wind rush past her face. Her tail wagged furiously, ears flapping in the breeze. The puppies in the basket yipped happily, mimicking their mother's excitement. As the minibus rumbled forward, leaving the bush behind, Ajoke leaned back in her seat, feeling a sense of relief and triumph. "We made it," she whispered softly. "After all we went through, after the struggles, the loneliness, the fear, we made it. And it's all because of you, Bingo. You saved us, loved us, and never left our side." Bingo barked softly, as if saying, "It was my pleasure, Mama." Mingo looked at the scenery rushing by. "We're leaving the past behind, Mama. Everything we've been through, and stepping into a new life." Zingo pressed his face to the window, watching the trees of the bush disappear behind them. "City, here we come. I can't wait." The bus drove along the dusty roads, past the fields and rivers they had once called home. The sunlight danced across the windows, casting golden streaks inside the minibus. Birds flew overhead, and the wind carried the scents of wildflowers, fresh water, and the promise of new beginnings. Bingo kept her head outside the window, tongue lolling happily, tail wagging as she sniffed the air. The puppies yipped and tumbled in their basket, thrilled by the movement and the excitement of the journey. Ajoke reached over and patted Bingo gently. "No matter where we go," she whispered, "you will always be my guardian, my best friend, my family." Bingo licked her hand in return, her eyes glimmering with joy and trust. Hours passed. The bush disappeared behind them. Villages appeared, then roads crowded with people, bicycles, and vehicles. The city skyline appeared in the distance, tall buildings glimmering in the sunlight, streets buzzing with life. Zingo gasped, "Wow, look at all that. We're really here." Mingo held the basket with the puppies close. "New life, new adventures," she said softly. "And everything starts with us sticking together." Bingo barked happily, standing tall in the seat, nose in the wind, proud of the family she had protected for so long. Ajoke smiled, holding Mingo's hand. "We survived the bush. We survived hunger, loneliness, danger, and now we begin again." The minibus drove past the city gates, the sound of horns, chatter, and excitement filling the air. The world was new, bustling, and full of possibilities. Bingo barked again, tail wagging. The puppies yipped in response, tiny voices full of curiosity and joy. Ajoke looked at them, tears of gratitude and hope streaming down her cheeks. This is the life we've earned," she whispered. "Together, safe, loved, free." And so, the family, Ajoke, Mingo, Zingo, Bingo, and the 4 little puppies, entered the city for the first time. The bush, with its struggles and memories, was behind them. The road ahead was bright, filled with laughter, new friends, and opportunities. And through it all, one thing remained the same: the love, loyalty, and courage of Bingo, the dog who had saved their lives, guided their hearts, and carried them to a brighter tomorrow. Bingo's head stuck out the window one last time, ears flapping, tail wagging. The puppies tumbled around her basket, excited for the new world. Ajoke, Mingo, and Zingo held hands, hearts full, ready for the next chapter. A journey of struggle, love, and loyalty ends. A new adventure begins. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment below and tell us what you think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more inspiring tales of love, loyalty, and friendship. Thank you for watching, and may your heart always stay full of love.
Ajoke packed one bag, folded her noise in a drawer, keys on the table, didn't look back at